أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا حبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المظلومين. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. يا ليتنا ثم يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب سينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته, dear brothers and sisters, mu'min and mu'minat. I send my condolences with a heavy heart, first and foremost, to our Imam, Sahib al-Asr al-Zaman, in the Ummah al-Islamiyya, and to you all on the night where Sayeda Zainab alayhi salatu wassalam and Mawlana wa Sayyidina and Imam Zain al-Abidin ibn Hussein alayhi salam are about to reach Kufa, where they will confront Yazid. My apologies, will confront Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad alayhi la'natullah, and he will ask her, how have you seen this? And she will reply, Salamullah alayha, ma ra'aytu illa jamila. I have not seen anything but beauty. In these times, we can learn from the bravery and the courage and the leadership of a Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam as a model to both male and female, as she is our guide and she is our role model that we take virtues and lessons from. Inshallah, we will start our majlis tonight with the recitation of the Holy Quran, and done by Mikal Mahdi, and I would like to welcome him with the blessing of Allah. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum wal anhum.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا أقسم بهذا البلد وأنت حل بهذا البلد ووالد وما ولد. لقد خلقنا الإنسان في كبد أيحسب أن لن يقدر عليه أحد يقول أهلكت مالا لبدا أيحسب أن لم يره أحد ألم نجعل له عينين ولسانا وشفتين وهديناه النجدين فلاقتحم العقبة وما أدراك ما العقبة فك رقبة أو إطعام في يوم ذي مسغبة يتيما ذا مقربة أو مسكينا ذا متربة ثم كان من الذين آمنوا وتواصوا بالصبر وتواصوا بالمرحمة أولئك أصحاب الميمنة والذين كفروا بآياتنا هم أصحاب المشأمة عليهم نار مؤصدة صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أحسنت brother Mika, طيب الله أنفاسك, جزاكم الله خير. Thank you for that beautiful recitation. Up next, we will have the recitation of Ziyarat Ashura, inshallah, by brother Mustafa Kamali. And I would like all of you to please recite aloud salawat to bless the recitation, inshallah. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم ولعن عدوهم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كل ولي الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوصيين. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والبتر الموتور. السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقي، وبقي الليل والنهار. يا أبا عبد الله، يا أبا عبد الله، لقد عظمت الرزية وجلت وعظمت المصيبة بك علينا وعلى جميع أهل الإسلام، وجلت وعظمت مصيبتك في السماوات على جميع أهل السماوات. فلعن الله أمة أسست أساس الظلم والجور عليكم أهل البيت، ولعن الله أمة دفعتكم عن مقامكم وأزالتكم عن مراتبكم التي رتبكم الله فيها، ولعن الله أمة قتلتكم، ولعن الله الممهدين لهم بالتمكين من قتالكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم ومن أشياعهم وأتباعهم وأوليائهم. يا أبا عبد الله، يا أبا عبد الله، إني سلمان لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم إلى يوم القيامة. ولعن الله آل زياد وآل مروان، ولعن الله بني أمية قاتبة، ولعن الله ابن مرجانة، ولعن الله عمر بن سعد، ولعن الله شمرا، ولعن الله أمة أسرجت وألجمت وتنقبت لقتالك. بأبي أنت وأمي، بأبي أنت وأمي، لقد عظم مصابي بك. فأسأل الله الذي أكرم مقامك وأكرمني بك أن يرزقني طلب ثارك مع إمام منصور من أهل بيت محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم اجعلني عندك وجيها بالحسين عليه السلام في الدنيا والآخرة. يا أبا عبد الله، يا أبا عبد الله، إني أتقرب إلى الله وإلى رسوله وإلى أمير المؤمنين وإلى فاطمة وإلى الحسن وإليك بموالاتك وبالبراءة ممن قاتلك ونصب لك الحرب، وبالبراءة ممن أسس أساس الظلم والجور عليكم، وأبروا إلى الله وإلى رسوله ممن أسس أساس ذلك وبنى عليه بنيانه وجرى في ظلمه وجوره عليكم وعلى أشيائكم، برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم، وأتقرب إلى الله ثم إليكم بموالاتكم وموالاة وليكم وبالبراءة من أعدائكم والناصبين لكم الحرب وبالبراءة من أشياعهم وأتباعهم. إني سلمان لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم وولي لمن والاكم وعدو لمن عاداكم. فأسأل الله الذي يكرمني بمعرفتكم ومعرفة أوليائكم ورزقني البراءة من أعدائكم أن يجعلني معكم في الدنيا والآخرة، وأن يثبت لي عندكم قدم صدق في الدنيا والآخرة. وأسأله أن يبلغني المقام المحمود لكم عند الله، وأن يرزقني تلم ثاري مع إمام هدى ظاهر ناطق بالحق منكم. وأسأل الله بحقكم وبالشأن الذي لكم عنده أن يعطيني بمصابيبكم أفضل ما يعطي مصابا بمصيبته، مصيبة ما عظمها وعظم رزيتها في الإسلام وفي جميع السماوات والأرض. اللهم اجعلني في مقامي هذا ممن تناله من صلوات ورحمة ومغفرة. اللهم اجعل محياي محيا محمد وآل محمد. اللهم اجعل محياي محيا محمد وآل محمد، ومماتي ممات محمد وآل محمد، ومماتي ممات محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إن هذا يوم تبركت به بنو أمية وابن آكلة الأكباد اللعين ابن اللعين على لسانك ولسان نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله في كل موطن وموقف وقف فيه نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم لعن أبا سفيان ومعاوية ويزيد بن معاوية عليهم منك اللعنة أبد الآبدين. وهذا يوم فرحت به آل زياد وآل مروان بقتلهم الحسين صلوات الله عليه. اللهم فضاعف عليهم اللعن منك والعذاب الأليم. اللهم إني أتغرب إليك في هذا اليوم وفي موقفي هذا وأيام حياتي بالبراءة منهم واللعنة عليهم وبالموالاة لنبيك وآل نبيك عليه وعليهم السلام. اللهم لعن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك. اللهم لعن الإصابة التي جاهدت الحسين وشايعت وبايعت وتابعت على قتله. اللهم لعنهم جميعا. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. اللهم خص أنت أول الظالم باللعن مني، وابدأ به أولا ثم الثاني والثالث والرابع. اللهم لعن يزيد خامسا، ولعن عبيد الله بن زياد وابن مرجانة وعمر بن سعد وشمرا وآل أبي سفيان وآل زياد وآل مروان إلى يوم القيامة. اللهم لك الحمد حمد الشاكرين، لك على مصابهم الحمد لله على عظيم رزيتي. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين يوم الورود، وثبت لي قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين الذين بذلوا مهجهم دون الحسين عليه السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. صلوات.
وعجل فرجهم ولعن خليهم. طيب الله أنفاسك فضل. Mustafa Kamali, thank you so much for that recitation. تقبل أعمالكم everyone. Up next, we will have our youth speech by Sister Rayhana, and I would like to welcome her with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Before I start my speech, I would like to share a short quote that was written by Imam Hussein. A person would not forget two types of faces in his life: the one who helped him in times of need and the one who had left him in alone time in difficult times. The full story of Imam Hussein. Just over 50 years after the death of Hazrat Muhammad, the last prophet of Islam, the Muslim rulership was leading into corruption under the tyrant Yazid from the Umayyad family. Hussein, the son of Ali and the grandson of Muhammad, took a stand against Yazid's evil rule. Although Yazid was feared and hated for his ruthlessness, Hussein was loved and respected by society. Yazid realized this and understood that if he could convince Hussein to support him, the people would too. Hussein had a choice to support the tyranny and live a comfortable life full of luxury, or to refuse and likely be killed for his decision. What should he do? What would you or I do? For Hussein, he could not live his life as a supporter of tyranny, and the choice for him was simple. Hussein refused. He said, "I only desire to separate good values and prevent evil." Imam Hussein was forced to migrate under threat of violence. Having refused to support Yazid, Hussein knew his life was in danger. Yazid did not allow anyone to oppose him, and adopted a policy of killing those who disagreed with him. Conscious of this, Hussein decided to leave his hometown of Medina and take his family to Mecca. Mecca, the capital city of Islam and home to Kaaba. Hussein hoped Yazid would respect the holy city and not follow Hussein and his family. However, Yazid did not. Forced to leave Mecca, Hussein set course for Kufa, a city in Iraq where he had received letters of support from. Yazid predicted this and sent a huge army to block Hussein from reaching Kufa, and forced them to the desert town of Karbala. Once they reached Karbala, Hussein with his family and 72 companions were surrounded by Yazid's forces of up to 30,000 men. Despite being hugely outnumbered and with limited access to water, Hussein refused to give up. Yazid gave Hussein a final choice: to either support the government or be killed. The final stand, Imam Hussein stood by his principle and made a selfless sacrifice. After receiving the final offer from Yazid, Hussein realized he would be killed in a matter of days. Hussein gathered his companion and urged them to escape. He explained that it was him who Yazid wished to kill, not them. Again, Hussein's selflessness shone through. Having been deprived of water in the hot desert, he urged his supporters to save themselves. Despite this, Hussein's men stayed loyal to him and stayed true to their principles. Within a few days, Yazid ordered his army to kill Hussein and his companions. When the dust settled, Hussein and his companions were killed. Throughout the forces of Yazid, Yazid promised him he could live freely if he chooses to support Yazid, but every time Hussein refused and was eventually killed. Holding family to his principle, the final Hussein, Imam Hussein stood by his principles and made a selfless sacrifice. Hussein was victorious through his timeless legacy. After his death, Imam Hussein's family were taken captive. His sister Zainab took up the role of leadership and gave an inspiring speech in Yazid's place. Condemning this action and his style of leadership, Zainab was one of the first to be inspired by Hussein's stand and his principle despite the sexism that existed in society at that time. She refused to be silent and held Yazid and his ministers to account for their role in the moral destiny of society. Hussein's example is that one man can stand against an army and giving his life inspired those after him to overthrow the abusive Umayyad family, just as those who lived in the 7th century were inspired by Hussein's stand. So are the millions today who pay homage to Hussein for his stand and mourn his death. People from all around the world visit the grave of Hussein in Karbala and to pay their respect. Muhammad Walid Muhammad Salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Up next, we will now have our lecture from Samahat Sayyid Mohammed Almodarresi. Now I'd like to welcome him with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ajil kharaj.
صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا رسول الله يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة صلى الله عليك وعلى آل بيتك المظلومين لعن الله ظالميهم من الأولين والآخرين صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله صلى الله عليك يا ابن رسول الله صلى الله عليك وعلى آل بيتك المظلومين المستشهدين يا ليتنا كنا معكم فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. قال الله العظيم في محكم كتابه الكريم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والمؤمنون والمؤمنات بعضهم أولياء بعض يأمرون بالمعروف وينهون عن المنكر. آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. If you look at the great prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, starting from Adam, he had someone like Hawa, our mother, to be with him and to support him. Like Isa ibn Maryam ala nabina wa alihi, aska salam, he had his mother from the start with him and defending him, salawatullah alayhi. And if you look at the life of our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he had a woman like Khadija salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayha. And Imam Hussein alayhi salam had his sister Zainab al-Kubra al-Siddiq al-Sughra alayhi salam. You cannot ignore the rule of Sayeda Zainab alayhi salam in Karbala. And you notice when you read the Maqatil, when you see that few hours until the afternoon of Karbala, Sayeda Zainab was present. Sayeda Zainab alayhi salam, in a lot of ways, aided her brother, salawatullahi wa salam alayhi, and his family. You know, one of the titles for Sayeda Zainab, al-Masa'ib, that she inherited and saw all the calamities that exists in every way possible. The martyrdom of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the martyrdom of Siddiq al-Kubra, Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam, the martyrdom of Amir al-Mu'mineen, the martyrdom of Imam Hassan al-Mushtaba alayhi salam. And just Karbala should be enough. Just Karbala. And Karbala is not just. Karbala is something that humanity never experienced and never will again. But something much smaller than this can break a person. And I've seen that myself. And you probably seen that or experienced that even. You see a person, like a woman, a bereaved woman, when she loses her child, loved ones, you see her in a corner, like weeping, beating herself maybe, and in a way paralyzed because of that emotion shock to her. But Sayeda Zainab, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا Sayeda Zainab. You see her in Karbala, saving Imam Abi Abdullah al-Hussein when he was about to pass out, and some people say about to die, when she saw him on the body of Ali al-Akbar. He had all the rights to even that moment to die, salawatullahi wa salam alayhi, with the shock of that, what happened to Ali al-Akbar. And people, when they receive these kind of shocks and these kind of calamities, they collapse. Imam Salamullah alayhi, when Sayyidah Zainab saw the danger on Imam, she got out of the tent. She got out of the tent and started screaming for Ali al-Akbar and calling for Ali al-Akbar. Imam, then that moved him. He got back and took her to the tent again. Says that khidruki, that being covered, not one seeing you, is more important to me. Allahu Akbar. Of course, that narrator, when he says that, I was years living as a neighbor to Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, and never once seen the shadow of Sayyidah Zainab, the shadow of Sayyidah Zainab. Allahu Akbar. Rahmatullah alayh. There was this scholar called Sheikh Ahmed Sibawayh. I met him a couple of times, a lot of times. He used to live in Tehran. And he was truly a man of God, a man devoted for Abi Abdullah salawatullahi wa salam. Sometimes you see those type of people and you wish you were like them. that their bone and flesh and blood is mixed with the love of Hussein alayhi salam. So he had this clip, you can probably watch it on the internet, that he says that once a sheikh called Sheikh Hassan Ali Tahrani, a speaker, he went to a majlis of Mirza al-Shirazi, the great Mirza, who with half a sentence kicked out the colonizer from Iran with the famous tobacco fatwa, that he said that, paraphrasing, that the use of tobacco today is equivalent to fight against Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu al-Sharif. So with that, just half a sentence, he kicked them all out. Even the Shah, when he asked his maid to fix him up with a shisha, back in the day, apparently they didn't have like these kind of cigars. So he went to the wife of the Shah, the queen, told him that what this person is asking me to do, I can't. Like, imagine, this person was a drinker. This person was a drinker, and probably that same maid used to bring him his drinks. But said, his wife went, said, Sayyid said it's haram. Said, what Sayyid said it's haram? Said, the same Sayyid who made me halal for you said this is haram. So imagine this great scholar that can, with half a sentence, kick out the colonizers. He was at that majlis, and Sheikh Hassan Ali said that دخلت زينب على ابن زياد. Says Sayyid took his amama, Sayyid, the great marja, he took his amama and threw it. And he said, enough, enough. Sheikh Hassan Ali, enough. Why? He said, let us just weep for this, what you just said. Where is Zainab and where is Ibn Ziyad alayhi la'anah? That illegitimate bastard, Zainab bint Ali, go to the court of Ibn Ziyad. Let us just weep now for this, what you now said. So Zainab Salamullahi alayha, when she got out, Imam Hussein took her back to her tent. I was, and a lot of people, I think there is a question, where did she get that patience from? Like, some people are patient by nature, but something will break them. Something will break them. And by nature, like maybe someone like has some problems or some psychological problems, and he's not patient, he's just calm. But with Sayyidah Zainab is different. That's every man, woman, friend or foe, when he hears about Zainab alayhi salam, he just stands to honor this lady, this great lady, and cannot say anything but respectful words to this great woman. Well, we need to look back at who is she's the daughter of. You know, sometimes things are, you inherit. That's why one of the things that it's very important that a person chooses a good wife for himself, and a lady chooses a good husband for herself. See who's the grandfather of that husband, even. I remember a friend of mine, he said, I was offered to marry such a woman, like he's a mu'min. That woman was all right woman, and was introduced by a friend of mine. And I told him, but her father drinks. And I don't want to have sons that respect a grandfather that drinks. You know, we have an option sometimes that some people think this far ahead. So in the ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, say that لم تنجزك الجاهلية بأنجاسها ولم تلبسك من مدلهمات ثيابها. Why? That, you know, the ignorance, the time of ignorance, we have this belief that from Adam till the Khatam and the Amma, their fathers and their mothers, unlike some school of thought that accused the father of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the grandfather of the Prophet, of being mushrik. We say no. تقلبك في الساجدين. That all the prophets, their fathers were mu'mins and muwahhid, not mushrik. So Sayeda Zainab was buried in the womb of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra, al-Arham al-Mutahhara, the purified womb. And who is her father? Al-Aslab al-Shamikha. That's Amir al-Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib. So that has an effect, of course. And what she saw at that household of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know, that narration that one day Fatima al-Zahra alayha salam, one night she prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala until the crack of the dawn, and she did dua just for the neighbors, for the mu'mineen. So Sayyidah Zainab here was the narrator that, first of all, she was awake to see her mother like that. So it has an effect. Girl that is raised in such a household, we have the dua, Allahumma la taj'al ad-dunya akbara hammina wa la mablagha ilmina. That we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, don't let this world be our main concern. I see some, even mu'min families, their main concerns for their child, for their children, is this dunya. For him to study, to be a doctor, to be a lawyer, to be an engineer or whatever. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's very good. They need to have a dignified life. But at least alongside that, their aqidah must be pure as well. What benefits us if we have a lawyer, but he's a kafir? What benefits us if we have someone who is educated, but kafir, and still, instead of doing good for himself and his family, he does the opposite. So this is an important issue to address, that in every household, the mother is the role model for both male and female. They see their mother, how pious she is. And we had like cases, because most of the time the father is absent. When he comes, he's tired, And when he's not tired, he wants to go and watch something or like be with his friend or whatever. But the mother who devotes her life for her kids, it's important for them to see what she does. That's why some people say that if you want to marry a woman, marry a lady, you need to see how her mother is. It has an effect. If her mother is pious lady, it will have an effect. So this is one. But the main thing is that she derived that from the sabr of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam. And she derived that from Iman, just Iman, but not just Iman, the pure Iman, the true belief. You truly believe, you will have sabr. I remember this narration I read once in regards of one of the Imams, maybe Imam al-Baqir it was, or Imam Sajjad, I don't recall. كلهم نور واحد, they all same light. So he told this maid not to take the kid to the roof, but she didn't listen. She took him. She took him, and when the Imam saw that, and she saw the Imam, she got nervous, and she didn't control herself and dropped the baby, and the kid died. The kid of Imam, not any kid. The kid of Imam, the child of Imam, died. What Imam Salamullah alayhi said? Imam was upset, not because she didn't listen, because the fear that entered her heart, because Imam looked at her and told her not to do, and she did, and the fear of the consequence. That's it. Imam was afraid because this was qada wa qadar. This was maybe his child time to die this way. But for her to be this afraid, Imam Salamullah alayhi wanted to comfort her. Imagine. That's the true belief. Maybe now half the humanity, at least, know about Abi Abdullah al-Hussein Salamullah alayhi. And along that, they know about Sayeda Zainab alayhi salam. You cannot ignore that fact. At least 3 in Karbala, they are well known. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, of course, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, and Sayeda Zainab. So, like imagine India with the population of more than 1 billion. It's maybe 1.5 billion, and that half is like 500 million people. They know about Imam Hussein Salamullah alayhi. And inshallah, one day it will have an effect on them. And inshallah, it will take them to the right path. Because it's Imam Hussein Salamullah alayhi and Karbala speaks to the pure soul of humans. It's the sacrifice of Imam Hussein Salamullah alayhi, the loyalty of Abu al-Fadl Abbas, the patience of Sayeda Zainab. These are all merits that every human being appreciates and wonders about how they got this from, where did they get this from, and how they became like this. And we have a lot of people who were illuminated by the Maktab of Ahl Bayt Salamullah alayhim because of that. So that's just India, and more than 1.5 billion Muslim, and another billion who even that tweet that probably upset a lot of nawasib of who I don't care much about. I mean, that person, but maybe they care a lot about the resident of the White House and his wife in regards of Muharram. So That one angle of the life of Sayyidah Zainab Salamullah alayha, which we can all learn from. But again, there is a lot of scenes in that on her short life, salawatullah salamu alayha, was ignored. And imagine in Karbala, she was nursing Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam back to health. She was always with Imam Zain al-Abidin, like most of the time when she can. And there's in this narration, in that regard, that Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam was lying down. He opened his eye. He was like passing out and like he was going unconscious most of the times. So when he came out, he saw Imam Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. He entered his tent. So he said to his aunt, Sayeda Zainab alayhi salam, that get me up, like help me get up. This is Ibn Rasulullah is coming. This is son of Rasulullah is coming. Allahu Akbar. So he tried, but he couldn't. So he said that Sannidini, like let me lay back. So she took him and like got him up. So Imam Salamullah alayh, Imam Hussein, he asked him how he was doing. And then Imam Zain al-Abidin know that there is war going on. And there's a battle, of course. And they are in the midst of the battle. So he asked Imam, where's my brothers? Imam Salamullah alayh said they were martyred. Where's Habib? He was martyred. Where is Muslim? Where is Zuhair? Where is Abis? Until he got to Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam. This is really heartaking. He asked Imam, where's my uncle Abbas? Imam Salamullah alayhi, he told him that he was killed. I left him on the banks of Euphrates and his hands were cut off. Imam Zain al-Abidin, then he cried and passed out. Imam Zain al-Abidin cried and passed out. And when he woke up, he told Amma Zainab, Auntie Zainab, get me a stick and a sword. She said, what are you going to do with it? He said, I will rely on a stick to get up and with a sword to fight, to defend my father, Hussein alayhi salam. And Imam Hussein salamullah alayhi told Sayyidah Zainab to hold him up. I heard this narration that, of course, everyone knows this narration in regard of Sayyidah Zainab salamullah alayha. Did salat while sitting, salatul layl, which is mustahab. You can do salatul layl in any position, even if you're driving, even if you're like lying down. Salatul mustahab you can do in every way, not as salat wajib. So what she was sitting, and Sayyidah Zainab, at least for 24 hours, didn't have anything to drink or eat. And she was a woman that run from one side to other, always watch over Imam Zain al-Abidin, gathering the aitam, gathering the people. But I heard that this narration, that she did this several times, so several nights, when they took them from Karbala to Sham, which took like I think 14 places. Like they were in Mosul, they were in Baalbek, they were in Homs, they were in Halab, and numerous places. And subhanAllah, in all these places where they put the head of Abi Abdullah Hussein, there's a shrine now for Abi Abdullah there. So Sayyidah Zainab then as well, she was sometimes pray while sitting. And if someone wonders why, because how much a prisoner can get as a ration to eat. And it wasn't enough. And she would give that ration, that piece of bread, to the Aitam as well. She didn't have even any strength even to stand on her feet to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one other time when they attacked the tents, Shimr entered the tent of Imam Zain al-Abidin. And when he saw there's a male who is the son of Imam, he wanted to kill him. But Sayyidah Zainab protected him by throwing herself on him. So not just in Majlis ibn Ziyad alayhi la'inullah, but as well in Karbala, Sayyidah Zainab protected Imam Zain al-Abidin from being killed. And one other time is that when Sayyidah Zainab salamullahi alayha they were about to leave Karbala, Sayyidah Zainab saw Imam Zain al-Abidin in a state of dying. And she looked at him, told him, Mali araka tajudu bi nafsak. Ya baqiyata ahli akhi. Oh, the one who is left of my family, why do I see you in this status of dying? Always remember what Sayyidah Zainab saw at that day. Always remember, keep in mind that Sayyidah Zainab still watching that. The head of Abu Fadl al-Abbas on his face, the head of her child on her son, and all that, the ashab, the mu'mineen, the salihin. And she says that to Imam Zain al-Abidin. And she give him that hadith that don't worry. When Imam Zain al-Abidin said that this is Hujjatullah, this is the Imam, the master of youth of paradise on the plain of Karbala, and no one even burying them. So Sayyidah Zainab then and there told him the hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ahdun ma'hud. This is a promise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that in this place will be a shrine for your father. That throughout history, tyrants will try to destroy it, but they will fail to do so. Ahdun ma'hud. At that night of Ashura, a person came to Umar ibn Sa'd alayhi la'inullah, told him, Oh Umar, do you want those prisoners as alive or dead? He says, no, I want to take them alive. He told him then, they are dying of thirst. Umar ibn Sa'd told him, okay, you can give them what you want. So this person took water to the camp of Abi Abdullah al-Husayn. But when he took the water, giving it to the ladies, they look at the water and they couldn't drink. How can we drink and our relatives died of thirst. How can we enjoy the water while Abu Abdullah, our master alayhi salam, died while saying, وَحَقِّ جَدِّي عَطْشًا, by my grandfather, I'm thirsty. سلام الله عليك يا رب. So until the narration says that they brought the water of one of the daughters of Hussein alayhi salam. But apparently, they don't say who, but apparently it was Ruqayya, because she was very young and in a tender age to understand what's happening. So when they gave her this water, she took the water and started running. In what direction? The direction that her father went to and never came back. And they told her, what are you doing? She said that I'm taking this water to my father because I heard he's thirsty. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله. صلى الله عليك يا ابن رسول الله. إن شاء الله سبحانه وتعالى, who protects all the Shias, all the muhibbeen of Abi Abdullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from all diseases, especially this. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the thirst of Abi Abdullah alayhi salam, and we know that it's dear to the heavens, the suffering of Abi Abdullah salawatullahi wa salam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to, for us, all the Muslimin, muhibbeen of Ahl Bayt, to be guided to the right path of Ahl Bayt alayhim salam. And so to be deserving of drinking water from the Kawthar, from the hands of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to hasten their appearance. Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman, Ajallah ta'ala faraj al-Sharif. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to illuminate our hearts with the knowledge of Ahl Bayt salawatullahi wa salam alayhim ajma'in. Again, I ask of you, brothers and sisters, to do dua for this lady who is suffering and who is in coma. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give her a complete shifa. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give all the mu'mineen and mu'minat who are in need of dua their wishes, and to cure and give back the health of all who are in need of our dua. By this ayah al-Mubarakah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. 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 يا الله. صل على محمد وعلى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد.
आले मेरा ने कहा और जिंदा ने कहा ये बेगन कैद कोई तू ना आया गाजी हमको पानी ना मिले तेरी खुशबू तो रखे, तेरे बाजू ना कटे, चाहे मशकी जाच दे, ये मगर हो ना सका, तेरे बाजू में जुदा, जिस पे ये तश्ना नबी, तू ना आया गाजी, गर्दा सर से चुनी मैं सदा देती रही, तू ना आया गाजी। धूप में तू था शजर, तुझसे आबाद था घर, है ना मेरा सर, क्या नहीं तुझको खबर, ए अलमदार वफा, इस बेगन को बखुदा, तुझसे ढारस्ती बड़ी, तू ना आया गाजी, जबरदा सर से चुनी मैं सदा देती रही, तू ना आया गाजी। आ गई शाम में अलम, लुट गए अकेले गरम, रेत पर जलती हुई हो गया ठंडा अलम, पुरसा देने के लिए आ गई शाम, लुट गए घर से चुनी मैं सदा दे आया बाजी। क्या कहूँ शेर मेरे बेरदा हम मुसलमान, शहर दर शहर गए, खिलकते कोफा कभी, खिलकते शाम कभी, बारगाह हम पे हंसी, तू ना आया गाजी, जबरदा सर से चुनी मैं सदा देती रही, तू ना आया गाजी। कितनी बेबस थी बहन मैं शहंशाह वफा, नाम ले ले के मेरा जब ये जालिम ने कहा, नाज था जिस पे तुझे अब बुलाओ ना उसे, और मैं रोती रही, तू ना आया गाजी, जबरदा सर से चुनी मैं सदा देती रही, तू ना आया गाजी। कैद खाने में कज़ा जब सकीना को मिली, देख के कुर्ते का कफन बच्ची दफनाई गई, उस घड़ी नाम तेरा सूरते नादे अली, बस में दोहराती रही, तू ना आया गाजी, जबरदा सर से चुनी मैं सदा देती रही, तू ना आया गाजी। आले इमरान ने कहा और जिंदा ने कहा, ये बहन कैद हुई, तू ना आया गाजी, जबरदा सर से चुनी मैं सदा देखती रही तू ना आया गाजी। या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन।
या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन, क्या रहा खैमों में शह के एक उदासी रह गई। क्या रहा खैमों में शह के एक उदासी रह गई। सिर्फ रोने को मोहम्मद की नवासी रह गई। क्या रहा खैमों में शह के एक उदासी रह गई। सज गई कासिम के टुकड़ों से उधर करबो बला। सज गई कासिम के टुकड़ों से उधर करबो बला। माए घर बेटे की दुल्हन को सजाती रह गई। क्या रहा खैमों में शह के एक उदासी रह गई। छीनता था शेम्र चादर और ज़ैनब बार बार। छीनता था शेम्र चादर और ज़ैनब बार बार। अपनी चादर के मुहाफिज को बुलाती रह गई। क्या रहा खैमों में शह के एक उदासी रह गई। क्या रहा खैमों में शह के एक उदासी रह गई। ऐ मुसलमानों तुम्हारी गैरतें क्या हो गई। ऐ मुसलमानों तुम्हारी गैरतें क्या हो गई। तुम तमाशाई थे ज़ैनब मुँह छुपाती रह गई। क्या रहा खैमों में शह के एक उदासी रह गई। कैद में बाली सकीना को मिला बाबा का सर। कैद में बाली सकीना को मिला बाबा का सर। मुंह पे मुंह रख कर जो सोई माँ जगाती रह गई। क्या रहा खैमों में शह के एक उदासी रह गई। हर तमाचे पर सकीना मुंह पे रख कर नन्हे हाथ। हर तमाचे पर सकीना मुंह पे रख कर नन्हे हाथ। नील रुख सारों के गाजी को दिखाती रह गई। क्या रहा खैमों में शह के एक उदासी रह गई। सिर्फ रोने को मोहम्मद की नवासी रह गई। या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन।
या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन। امشب صحرا بی کفن جسم شهیدان است. شام غریبان است. امشب نوای کودکان بر بام کیوان است. شام غریبان است. امشب بر دشت کربلا، امشب بر دشت کربلا، نالان یتیمانند تا صبح و گریانند. امشب برای کشته ها در ناله مرغانند، چون دی در افغانند. امشب به صحرا بی کفن جسم شهیدانند، شام غریبانند. بر خاک و بی غسل و کفن، بر خاک و بی غسل و کفن، رعنا جوانانند خوابیده عریانند. بر غربت اجسادشان، بر غربت اجسادشان عالم پریشانند، شام غریبانند. امشب به صحرا بی کفن جسم شهیدانند، شام غریبانند. امشب عیال مصطفی، امشب عیال مصطفی در گوشه صحرا به منزل و موا. اموالشان تاراج کین فرقه اعدا شد، ای آه و ویلا. امشب به صحرا بی کفن جسم شهیدانند، شام غریبانند. امشب بر بالین حسین، امشب بر بالین حسین زینب عزا دارد، از غم گرفتار است. امشب سکینه بر سر نعش پدر زارد، تا صبح و بیدار است. امشب به صحرا بی کفن جسم شهیدانند، شام غریبانند. امشب تن پاک حسین، امشب تن پاک حسین در قتل و بی سر، در بحر خون اندر. خوابیده به غسل و کفن با اکبر و اصغر، با یاران و یکسر. امشب به صحرا بی کفن جسم شهیدانند، شام غریبانند. خون می رود امشب ز چشم دختر زهرا، اف بر تو ای دنیا. آل علی ویران نشین اندر بیابانند، شام غریبانند. امشب تن پاک حسین، امشب تن پاک حسین در قتل و بی سر، خوابید در بحر خون اندر. خوابیده به غسل و کفن با اکبر و اصغر، با یاوران یکسر. امشب به صحرا بی کفن جسم شهیدانند، شام غریبانند. یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین.
حسین یا
یا حسین.
يا حسين يا حسين اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل بيت محمد أي منقلب سينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. Brothers and sisters, I read like a tweet the other day, actually not the other day, today, and it was quite, it's quite sad because it was talking about how people, once the 10 days finishes, everyone just kind of gives up. But really, this is the beginning of the tragedy. This is that, the 10th of Ashura is the first day of the tragedy. We continue, and the ladies of Rasulullah Muhammad, the daughters of Rasulullah Muhammad and of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, they're now starting to go towards Kufa and to Sham, where the ultimate trials will happen, and where truly Sayeda Zainab alayhi salam and Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam will show the truth in the court of al-Nifaq and al-Kufr, the court of Yazid, la'natullahi alayhi. So inshallah, we as the Shia of Al-Muhammad and as the lovers of Al-Muhammad and as the mourners of the day of Ashura can continue to proceed and to thrive and to show our commitment and loyalty to the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam by continuing to learn about them, learn about their teachings, learn about the day of Ashura and beyond, and inshallah apply this to our lives. We will conclude our program tonight, inshallah, with the salam and with the dua for faraj for our Imam Sahib al-Asr al-Zaman. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم والعن عدوهم يا كريم. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وأمينك وصفيك وحبيبك وخيرتك من خلقك وحافظ سرك ومبلغ رسالاتك أفضل وأحسن وأجمل وأكمل وأزكى وأنمى وأطيب وأطهر وأسنى وأكثر ما صليت وباركت وترحمت وتحننت وسلمت على أحد من عبادك وأنبيائك ورسلك وصفوتك وأهل الكرامة عليك من خلقك. اللهم وصل على علي أمير المؤمنين ووصي رسول رب العالمين عبدك ووليك وأخي رسولك وحجتك على خلقك وآيتك الكبرى والنبأ العظيم. وصل يا رب على الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء البتول سيدتي نساء العالمين. وصل يا رب على سبطي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين عليهم السلام، وبالخصوص سيدي ومولاي أبا الفضل العباس وسيدتي ومولاتي زينب الكبرى عليهما السلام. وصل يا رب على أئمة المسلمين وحجج الله على خلقه علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الصالح الهادي المهدي حججك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك صلاة كثيرة دائمة. اللهم وصل على ولي أمرك القائم المؤمل والعدل المنتظر وحفه بملائكتك المقربين وأيده بروح القدس يا رب العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا وهب لنا من رأفته ورحمته ودعاءه وخيره يا أرحم الراحمين. وصل يا رب على سيد الكونين ومولى الثقلين النبي المختار محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Inshallah, we look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow for our final program for the night of the burial of Sayyid al-Shuhada and the Shuhada of Ma'rakat al-Taf. I ask all of you to please recite Surah Fatiha once we conclude the program for all your marhumi and marhumat and for all of the mu'minin and mu'minat and the mu'minin and mu'minat of the sponsors and the helpers of the program. Inshallah, and we'll see you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.